What was your crap? I'm an adult moment. It kind of happened a couple of days ago even though I'm in my 30s. While I've always respected my father, we've had a pretty contentious relationship throughout my childhood. He fought in Korea, is old school Turkish, man of the house, head of the household type deal. We are nothing alike. He's short and has a bit of a temper, slight build. I'm 6 with a linebacker's build and lift heavy things, but I fashion myself to be kind and gentle. He went military. I didn't outside of my mandatory stuff for Germany. He's great with cars and construction projects. I'm great with computers and cooking. There was always a bit of a language barrier as well, as my Turkish isn't flawless and his English is super phobey. He's in his 80s now and had been having chest pain for some time. Don't worry, mom's a nurse and we 100% believe in Western medicine with regular visits to the doctor. I live in VA and they live in FL, but come to visit twice a year. This time he came up to have non-emergency angio and add some stents. Since he's been here I've been strict as heck with him. Can't work in the yard, not allowed to lift things above 10 pounds. Lots of rules like that. Every now and then he'd break those rules and I'd scold him and he'd kind of sheepishly retreat. Never once has my father backed down from anything even when he was wrong. But this time there was no fight in him. So I drove him to his angio procedure with my mom, even though they insisted she could drive. My mom is a great driver, but considering the context of it all I informed them I was going to take them and that this wasn't for debate. Again, no one opposed me. My mom also informed me that I had been given power of attorney over both of them in case something should happen, and some assets were being put in my name. The previous night at dinner I realized they had been setting my plate at the head of the table as well. My father's spot if you will, since they had come up. Without even knowing it I had become patriarch of the family. For a bit of context, Turkish families tend to be very traditional about gender roles. I'm an American born in America, so I couldn't give a frick about that kind of stuff. But my father being the only adult male in his immediate and extended family meant the responsibility of their well-being was on him. 4 sisters and all their daughters. We pull up to the hospital and I give my dad a kiss on the cheek and wish him well and hug him. Told my mom to text me with any progress updates as I had to go to work. The moment they cleared the hospital door it hit me like a ton of bricks. I started crying and crying and crying. All of the responsibilities this man has had to shoulder for decades and decades. All of it had been passed down to me. It was in that moment that I finally understood. I became an adult the day I finally had to confront my father's mortality and my inherited responsibility. I need to go hug my dad after reading this. I was feeling tired and didn't want to go to work one morning. Then I realized that going into work would be less of a pain in the butt than making up everything that day. It was a sad realization. Sometimes I wake up and really want the day off. I go online and check my work calendar. Sometimes there's too much to try to pawn off on someone else for the day, so I have to go in. Once in a great while, my calendar is clear, and I can take the day off, but by then, I'm awake already, so no sleeping in. Every once in a while, I look around my apartment and remember that the only thing keeping a roof over my head is my own continued effort. It's weird. When I pay my bills, of course I hate seeing the money leave, but then I get this sense of, frick yay, taking care of business. I received a Best Buy gift card for my birthday for $100. Sweet. I could get a new video game, maybe a new controller. I left with a vacuum cleaner and was excited about it. I put grass seed down and fertilized it, and now I check its progress daily. I'm trying to grow grass on purpose knowing full well that I'll have to mow it. Congratulations, you're a lawn farmer now. I was walking in town when a mother's kid was running about crisscrossing the pavement. The kid ran in front of me, and the mother quickly shouted at her to get out of the nice man's way. I was so shocked because someone who'd never met me, nor had any reason to think highly of me, just assumed I was an adult. When my remaining parent died, that's when you know there's no one around who's there for you or loves you unconditionally. It's hard. When I was happy to spend $700 to buy a new washer, then haul it home and replace the broken one all so I could have clean clothes. As I looked over and saw my daughter playing Fort in the box and thought to myself, when did my imagination die? That was a sad Sunday for me. Your house is your fort. You don't need to pretend. Buying a house kinda fricked me up, realizing how much time, effort, and money that actually goes into it. It's a heck of a responsibility. That's actually the reason why I posted this. We have just had confirmation on our completion moving date and have began to box up all our crap. I feel adult as frick. I was cleaning my car in the driveway and a neighbor kid walked up and said, "Wow, you own a Corvette?" I said yes, and I let him sit in it and stuff. He then gets out and runs to his dad and said, "Dad, that old guy over there has a Corvette." I was 34 at the time. If it makes you feel better, when I was a kid, I can remember 19-year-olds seeming like fully mature, huge people when I turned 18. Oh, how wrong I was. I had fostered a mama cat and 4 kittens. I had one kitten I really wanted to keep if it didn't get adopted. A lady came over with her daughter and her daughter fell in love with him. Just smitten. I knew I had to let her have that kitten. She's a little girl. I'm almost 30, but man was that a crap. I'm an adult. I have to act like one moment. I knew he was the best cat out of the bunch and he needed a loving family and a little girl to love him. I cried as soon as they left. She still has the cat years later and the mom contacted me to say it's the best cat they have ever had. I'm proud of you and very glad that the kitten went to a loving home. I was at a punk show late on Sunday night in Boston and between sets we started talking about health insurance. I'm sure you were talking about not paying for that crap. So freaking punk. About 2 months after I graduated college and was in my first job, I was having dinner on a patio with friends. A block away, 2 cars collided and one guy wasn't wearing his seatbelt. People were running towards the scene and someone yelled, "Is anyone a doctor?" The whole patio was watching the scene. My friend said, "Go help." To which I thought, no, I'm not like a real nurse. I'm just, like, you know, a nursing student who just graduated from nursing school and works as a nurse. Oh crap, I think I'm a nurse. How the heck did that happen? I jogged over and said I'm a nurse and it was the weirdest feeling for people 20 or 40 years older than me to be looking at me like, okay good, you be the authority here until the paramedics show up. No one was seriously hurt at all and immediate medical help wasn't all that necessary. Guy who wasn't wearing his seatbelt had whiplash. I just told him not to move and stay put. Asked him if he'd hit his head. Asked his name. Asked him what day it was. Anyone who'd seen a medical show could have done what I did. Then the ambulance and cops came and the waitress got my table a calm dessert for my act of heroism, which was essentially me bullshitting my way through the situation while thinking, oh frick, why am I the adult in this situation? Oh frick. I feel like people that have been immersed in a field for years, medical science or otherwise, probably don't realize how advanced and mystical their supposedly basic knowledge appears to outsiders. Boss, here's a room. Me. Okay. Boss, here's 30 kids in the room with you. Me. Okay. Boss, you have to make sure they don't kill each other for 60 minutes or you'll be sued. Me. Wait, I'm a teacher. First week was terrifying. I had the same realization when they all looked at me like the authority on the room. You could all conceivably charge me all at once and kill me. I am now responsible for you all. I can tell you the absolute wrong thing right now and you'll believe it for life. Like that dumb person loudly telling her friends about blackfish on the bus. I have so much power right now. Frick. Abort. Abort. We used our Amazon points to buy a garbage can that opened when you waved your hand in front of the lid. I tracked it every day until it arrived and opened it the second it hit my porch. I was excited about a garbage can, and it was the highlight of my week. I called my grandparents and told them how excited I was that I refinanced my car and dropped my interest from 15% to 10% and cut my payments in half. It was at that moment that I realized my childhood was dead. While it's better than before, a 10% auto loan is trash. Buying something from the local shop. A lady behind me says to her toddler, "Mind out for that man," and it took me a while to realize she was talking about me. I'm not a man. I'm a child. When I had to pick out a casket for my father, it was a really surreal moment looking back. Mom was too sad to leave the house. Sister stayed behind to deal with her. I sat in the office of the funeral director and he handed me a tissue. I had no more tears. He was just talking at me and I couldn't really pay attention. We looked at a number of models, all different materials and colors. He was describing the features like they were some kind of fancy car. Eventually I asked if he could just leave me alone for a minute. He obliged and I paced around the room. For some reason I needed to run my hand along each casket, inside and out. I decided on a simple wooden casket. I thought of my dad scolding me choosing something expensive to rot in for a century. It made me chuckle. I left the funeral home and began to drive home. All of a sudden I had a moment. Pulled over to the side of the road and had a good cry. That's when I realized I was no longer a child. Frick, Reddit hits you with deep crap when you're not expecting it. Freaking tearing up, man. Leaving the army and realizing that no one gave a crap. 3 months after getting out I realized I was just waiting around for someone else to tell me what to do. I finally put it together. There wasn't anyone above me. I was my own responsibility. It's liberating after a while. It's liberating after a while. And absolutely terrifying at first. When I realized that I wasn't at that age where I would see a young famous actor or artist and think, that can be me if I work hard. Now I am like, it is too late for me. Morgan Freeman's career didn't take off until he was an older gentleman, so you still have time. Driving the nibblings around. Oh my gosh, someone let me be responsible for their children. Buckle up, babies, aunt is going just under the speed limit. Got in an argument with my wife about what color of bathroom fixtures we were going to install. Brushed bronze for the win. Being at a house party, finishing my 4th beer, and thinking, if I leave now, I can play video games for 30 minutes, eat something, drink some water, be in bed by 10 PM, and not have a hangover tomorrow, and deciding that was better than getting drunk at a party. Just recently, actually, I have a disease that makes my bowels do some freaky crap. One thing led to another and I had an accident at work. I work in a mall. As I was sitting there, in the public toilet stall, trying to cry quietly and remove my underwear without taking off my tights and shoes, that I had to get myself out of the situation. There was no grown-up I could call to help me. I feel pretty upset that I'm dealing with this at 21. Appreciate your functioning sphincters, folks. You never appreciate how good being healthy feels until you lose it. Hang in there, buddy. Worked at a local 24-hour news station as a director-producer. I got really lucky in the fact that I got hired right when I was finishing up college. Started as a part-time PA, moved my way up in about a year. Anyway, this is a local practice. I couldn't tell you the channels we were on even when I worked there, and that meant more or less that for the 9 hours a day I was there, 4 AM to 1 PM, I was essentially in charge of the basic flow of the day, and for some reason, our busiest time of the day, or to put it more accurately, the time of day when most bad things happen, was 10 AM to about 3 PM. No idea why, but that's when people like to do most bad things, it seemed. When I first started as a director, I didn't know what an authority of a news station was. I was used to mock film sets and classrooms. What the frick do you mean? Are we going live? Shouldn't the producer figure that out? Oh, that's right, it's a Wednesday morning, so no one is here. Am I really deciding if we're going to interrupt our syndicated schedule? Is this actually breaking news? WTF? Why am I in charge? I guess we can go live. Is it important? Is Allison here? I need her on the desk. Pull up the prompter for her. Load the stinger. Alright, breaking in at 1000. 30 seconds. It was a real game changer for how I saw myself. I wasn't some punk teen going on random interview jobs with my instructor. I was leading a news team 9 hours a day. And I wasn't bad. And then some guy comes along and blackmails you into having sex with him in exchange for footage that will keep the ratings high. It was yesterday. One of my work colleagues said he had to leave early to go to his father's 42nd birthday party. I'm 43. Frick. Not exactly an I'm an adult moment, but it still made me feel pretty old. Yesterday, I was talking to one of my teenage students about how bad COD Infinite Warfare is, and I mentioned that the only redeeming thing about it was COD 4 Remastered and how good it is. He said that he hasn't played it, so I say how revolutionary COD 4 was and I ask him if he ever played it when it was originally launched. And he says, ooh oh no, I was 3. Ouch, that one would hurt me too. When I was super excited to do laundry, my friend recommended a detergent that made her clothes smell really good. I went to Target right after work and cancelled my plans for the night to do laundry. I just moved into a new house and there is a tree in my yard that looks awesome to climb. But I thought to myself, you got neighbors bro. You go climb that freaking tree. I walked into a shop that sold BB guns and swords and all manner of weapons, and as I was walking around in childlike wonder I saw a full-size recurve bow. I loved it and wished that I could buy it. It was so awesome. Then I remembered, crap, I'm 23, I can buy it, so I did. And it is awesome. Makes me want to go out and buy something like an adult. But I'm broke. Also I'd probably buy Mario Kart. So NVM. Getting laid off from my job at 24. Full-time, 40 hours week, career job, and they laid me and 15 other people off due to a decline in revenue. Being 24, in a new city with no friends and suddenly losing my job was like adulthood sucker punching me. How was I going to make rent? Do I have enough experience to get another job? Is this really happening? This is a joke, right? They can't do this to me. I'm only 24. Maybe it's all a dream. What the frick? Why did this happen? Then I got my crap together and had to start making phone calls. No one was going to magically make it right for me. No one was going to knock on my door and fix my problems. That was my first real I'm an adult and this could all go wrong so quickly moment. Was washing my hands in a public restroom when a talkative little girl came up to the sink to do the same. She was asking a lot of questions, and I was happy to answer them since I remembered being a really talkative kid too. At the end of the short conversation, she told me she was 8 and asked how old I was. Up until that point, she had been talking to me like an equal, but when I said I was 22, her eyes got huge and she just mumbled, "Oh, you're a grown up." I'm 22. The other day I read my age, and it took me a few moments to actually process it. I'm old enough to buy alcohol. I've graduated college. Frick, I'm 22. I haven't been a teenager for 3 years. That beautiful little baby girl in your arms. You can take her home now. Maternity nurse talking about my 3-day-old daughter. Crap got real very quickly. Seeing all the draft picks younger than me. I don't even know why that always does it. It's just a reminder that I'm older than them and have not achieved anything close. And the kicker is that I'm a woman, so why does it even matter? Haha. Oh wait. The grey-bearded hockey players that are from a different era and do things the old way are my age. Except for Jagger. That guy's still old as crap. I got drunk vacuuming, cleaning toilets and dishes, and I loved it. It is so satisfying to relax in a clean home. Just 2 years ago I didn't want to be doing any of that stuff. Weird how it changes once you actually own the place you live in. I used to love video games. Now, when I occasionally sit down to play one I get all edgy because, like, I've got more important crap to do. The trick is to start having that feeling when you're young by playing games instead of doing schoolwork and just keep that up. Car shopping. They're just gonna hand me the keys to test drive this mechanical beast. Are they sure about this? Ugh. And the paperwork. No thank you. The 3rd of May, 1999. At around 3 PM, I had just finished university and moved back home that weekend. My little brother, 15 at the time, I was 21, had just left for school. I was in bed, as one in this position would normally be at 7:20 AM. That's when I hear my mom yell at me, "New house. Dad's having a heart attack." Well, I went from asleep to fully dressed in a matter of seconds. Ran to the bottom of the stairs to get aspirin. Crap, no aspirin. Ran down the street to get aspirin from a neighbor. Got the aspirin. Gave it to my dad. Waited for the paramedics. Dad gets carted off to the hospital. My mom and I are in tow, staying with him while doctors attending to him. My mom is pretty shaken up, so I'm doing a lot of the talking to doctors, then talking to her. That's when it dawns on me. My little brother is coming home from school. He's going to come home to an empty house that is in a little disarray from the paramedics and all. So, I hike it back to the house. Leave my mom at the hospital with my dad. My brother came through the door sometime between 3 and 3:30 PM. And that was my crap. I'm an adult moment. I had to tell my little brother that his dad had a heart attack while keeping my crap together. I'm the one with the checkbook. My roommate gives me the cash. I'm the one set up with auto payment for our utilities. He gives me cash. When I set it up, he said, "I'm so glad you know how to do that stuff." Mother, I don't know how to do that stuff. I just freaking did it and figured it out. It took work and effort to do all this. I did some serious growing up when that was going down. Also, I accept my role with excitement now. Doesn't hurt that he just gave me $800 cash this morning. Gonna go buy some kakain. Gonna go buy some kakain. When my dad suddenly died when I was 21 and away at university, suddenly I was financially responsible for myself. Matured real quick that year. As a 17-year-old, I could not understand why my then boyfriend's mother was reduced to tears at receiving an incredibly expensive vacuum for Christmas. At 24, my mother gave me a KitchenAid mixer for Christmas, and I sobbed like a baby. That's when I knew that I was actually a grown-up. My mom is incredibly poor and has been out of work due to a back injury for a while. I had wanted that mixer for years, but it was too expensive for me to justify buying for myself. When I tore open the corner, I just started crying and crying, knowing how much my mom had to save just to make me happy. I'm choked up typing this right now. Everybody go call their parents. I'm not crying, you're crying. Realizing that I was on my own after deliberately isolating myself from my family after a rather large emotional mental breakdown around 19. Then moving to Prague and realizing that the best paying job I could get was bar staff in a strip club. I'm past that now, fortunately. I woke up at 5 AM to my alarm going off, got out of bed, got a shower, got dressed, walked into the other bedroom and woke my sister up. She got a shower. I laid out her clothes on the bed for her to put on, walked her to the bus stop and watched her get on the bus, sat down and waited on my own school bus. Mom came pulling up in her car and parked, began staggering to the stairs. I got up and helped her up the stairs to the apartment, helped her into bed where she passed out, went back outside and saw the school bus driving off, sighed, grabbed my backpack from the bus stop, and got to walking. So when I was 15 and lived with my mom for 6 months, I'd say, "Hey man, you're a hero." When signing the hospital's papers to be released after giving birth, to release the baby they said parent's signature, and I thought to myself, frick, mom just left. Wait, I'm mom now. Whenever I jokingly wanted to get out of a conversation at work, for instance when it seemed like someone was trying to hand me work, I'd say, "Oh sorry, I gotta run. My mom's calling me." A few months back I went to say it, and the person I was talking with said, "Wait, don't you have kids? Couldn't you say they're calling you?" I had never thought to reframe it that way, and thanked her for the contribution. 2 hours later the school called because my youngest had vomited, so I really did have to go, as my kid needed me. I must go, my people need me. The other day I realized that I now buy every poster or art print, with the intention of putting them in frames, not on my wall. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video. Bye for now.